everyone, welcome back to my channel Tutelage, a guide to learner here. I am Sriparna. Hope all of you are doing good. You all know both papers, subject paper and the general paper, both are equally important in UGC Net exam. And in this channel, we have already shared some important chapters from the new syllabus that is from general paper. Okay. Uh, if you have missed my previous sessions on general paper, so please go and check it once. All previous sessions links are available in my first comment and my description box. Today we are going to start another segment of this exam, that is subject paper, and mine is education. So today is a new beginning learner. We will start our session with one of the most interesting chapter of educational psychology, that is unit 3, and learner and learning theory. Okay, so at first we have to know that what do you mean by a educational psychology. Okay, so psychology basically deals with the study of mind and behavior. It includes feeling and thoughts, obviously, but here we will discuss the psychology in education. We will discuss the next phenomena, that is psychology in education or educational psychology. Basically, educational psychology is a branch of a psychology and it is concerned with the scientific study of the human learning. So educational psychology is the study of mind and behavior of the human body. That is the basic knowledge about educational psychology. So, you know, educational psychology is a huge concept, but here we will follow that part only which is in the UGC Net syllabus. Okay, so learner, look at this slide, and here we can see our first topic, that is growth and development and its concept and its principles. Now move on to the next topic, that is cognitive process, and now going to the last topic for today's session, that is stages of cognitive development. So learner, move on to the main slide. So learner, it's the first slide for our first topic, that is concept of growth. Okay, so do you know, learner, what do you mean by a growth? So basically, growth is a process that focuses on the quantitative improvement. That is the most important word for the definition of the for the meaning of growth, because growth indicates the quantitative improvement. So growth is a process of physical maturation resulting an increase in size of the body and the various organs also. Okay, I think this is clear. Now going to the example. So here we can see the example of growth, that is a child grows in weight and height, because weight and height indicates the quantitative changes of the human body. So height and weight, increase in height and weight of the human body is one of the most important example for growth. So this is clear. Now move on to the next concept, that is development. Okay, so development is also a process of functional and physiological maturation of the individual. Okay, so it indicates the progressive increase in the skill and capacity to function. It indicates not only the psychological changes but also the emotional and social changes of the human body. So development focuses on the qualitative aspects of the body. So what is the basic difference between growth and development? So growth indicates or focuses on the quantitative changes of the body, and on the other hand, development indicates the qualitative changes of the body. That is the one of the most common or basic differences between growth and development. Okay, I think this is clear. So now going to the example of the development, that is a child's IQ increases with the growing age. So IQ is the qualitative aspect of the human body. So that's why it is the one of the most important example for the concept of development. So I think this is clear what you mean by a development and what is called growth. So now move on to the previous slide where we can see the principles of growth and development. Okay, so now going to the previous slide. So here we can see our principles. Okay, principle. So the first principle, that is cephalocaudal direction. Cephalocaudal direction. Okay, cephalocaudal direction. So basically it indicates the development from head down to tail. Okay, so this type of direction, this type of principle basically starts from the uh, head region. Okay, so it means that important in structure and function come first in head region, that in the trunk, and last in the leg region. So that's why cephalocaudal direction basically indicates or denotes from head down to tail. So this is one of the most important principle. Okay, so now going to the second one, that is proximodistal direction. So what do you mean by a proximodistal direction? So basically it indicates from center or midline to periphery direction. So in this direction, development of the body, basically human body, proceeds from near to far, outward, far outward from the central axis of body toward extremities. For example, we can say uh, at first arms, then hands, and then fingers. So uh, children basically improve their capacity to function with arms at first, then they start functioning with hands and then fingers. Okay, so this process is basically called the proximodistal direction, and it is one of the important principle. Now move on to the last principle, that is general to specific. So children use cognitive and language skills to reason and to solve problems. So at first he or she is able to hold by two hands, then single hand, and then able to pick small objects. So that's why children first draw circle, then squares, and then letters, then words by holding a pencil. So basically development proceeds always from general to specific. So development and growth follows the cephalocaudal direction, it follows proximodistal direction, it follows general to specific direction. So that's why all three are very important to everyone. And I think principles are clear to all. So now move on to the next concept. So these principles basically related to the development, related to the concept of development. So first uh, concept so sorry the first principle, that is development is a continuous process. So we all know development is a continuous thing, and it follows general to specific, proximal distal direction, cephalodaucal direction, etc. So that's why it is a continuous process uh, from uh, children from child to old age. Okay, so it follows a direction. We have already told development follows a direction and uniform pattern of every human body. And one and third one is one of the most important principle of development, that is principle of independence of system. Okay, development varies from person to person. It is one of the most important principle of development also. Now going to the fifth one, that is development is sequential. And now going to the last one, most traits are correlated in development. So this is also one of the most important principles of development. So I think this is clear what is development and what are the principles of development. So development is a continuous process. It follows always a direction, uniform pattern, sequential pattern. It helps uh, basically it varies from person to person, and it follows the principle of independence of system, and all traits are correlated in development. So I think this is clear what is growth, development, and the next concept, that is principles of growth and development. So now we are going to the next concept, that is I think cognitive development. So before going to the discussion on cognitive development, so at first we have to know what do you mean by a cognition. So do you know, learner, what do you mean by a cognition? So basically, cognition refers to the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and senses. So basically, cognition is related to the mental action, mental process of acquiring knowledge. Okay, so cognition uses our existing knowledge, and it helps to generate new knowledge also. Okay, so cognition refers to the mental action and process of acquiring knowledge and understanding acquired knowledge through different thoughts, experiences, and the senses. Okay, so now going to the next topic, that is cognitive development. Okay, so here we can see cognitive development means the development of the ability to think and reason. So, what do you mean by a cognitive development? So, obviously, cognitive development, cognitive process, cognition, all are related to the mental aspect, mental process of the acquiring knowledge and understanding acquired knowledge through different types of thoughts, experience, senses. So, cognitive development is the development of the ability to think and reason. So, learner, here we can see most well-known theory of the cognitive development, that is Piaget's theory of cognitive development, 1952. We will discuss it later. Most probably, we will discuss it in my next session. Okay. So, we have already told that one of the most important principle or features of development, that is principle of interdependence. Okay. The cognitive development, so cognitive process basically is interdependent and simultaneously occur. So that's why this it is the one of the most important principle of development also. I think this is clear because cognitive development is also under the development. Okay, so development includes the cognitive, the affective, and the mental is already included. So physical, psychological, etc., etc. So cognitive development is one of the branch of the development of the human body. Okay. So I think what is cognitive development and what is the process of cognition, and the most important feature of cognitive development is all clear to everyone. So now going to the next topic for today's session, that is process of cognitive development. Okay, so the first stage and first process, that is number one, that is attention. Okay, so first process for first stage of the cognitive development, that is attention. So what is attention? Attention basically the process of selecting object, physical object or abstract object. So basically attention means process for selecting something. Clear? Sir, for sorry, for we all know cognitive development is related with the cognition, and cognition deals with the mental process of the human body. So that's why the first process, first stage, that is attention, and attention indicates the process for selecting something, that is object or physically object material or abstract material. Okay, so now going to the second stage, that is called perception, that is number 2. So what is called perception, learner? Do you know? So basically perception is the process. So all things are process basically. Perception is the process for capturing information from the environment. So, what is perception? Perception is basically the process for capturing some information from environment. So, first stage, that is attention. Attention indicates the process for us selecting something. Next stage, that is perception. Perception is the process for capturing information from environment. Third stage or third process, that is I think memory. Okay, so first one is attention, second one is perception, third one is memory. So what is memory? So memory is storing and finding or accessing the knowledge, those knowledge uh, which are acquiring or which are capturing from environment. So memory is the storage of information. So memory is the process for storing, finding and accessing the all information or knowledge which is capturing from environment. So first stage, that is attention, second stage, that is perception, third process of cognitive development, that is called memory. Going to the fourth one, that is learning. Learning is number 4. Learning is the process for synthesizing new knowledge and know how the knowledge. So, learning is the process for synthesizing the knowledge. Okay. So, and in this process, interactivity. is allowed, because without interaction, the knowledge synthesization, or how to know what is knowledge and how we are synthesizing the new knowledge without interactive interaction is impossible. So that's why in the fourth stage, that is learning, interactivity or interaction is mandatory and it is allowed also. Okay, so learning is the process for synthesizing the knowledge which is capturing from environment. Now move on to the fifth point, that is language. So the fifth one, that is language. So language is the process for understanding and communicating with someone. So without language, interaction is impossible. So language is needed for communication. So it is the process for understanding the knowledge and communicating with someone through language. So that's why language is mandatory. Now going to the last stage, that is number 6, and which is known as higher reasoning. So last process or last stage of the cognitive development, that is higher reasoning. So higher reasoning basically indicates the process that involve reflective cognition such as problem solving, planning, reasoning, decision making, etc. So I think this is clear what are the stages or process of the cognitive development. The first stage, that is attention, the second stage, that is perception, third stage, that is memory, the fourth stage, learning, fifth stage, language, and the last stage, higher reasoning, and which is basically related to the problem solving knowledge, planning, reasoning, decision making skill of the individual, of the human body. Okay, so cognitive development is the study of neurological and psychological development. So I think this is clear. Now going to the next slide. So, okay, we are done for the today's session. I hope this session will be a very useful and helpful to everyone. If you like my session, do not forget to like, share, and comment. Please do some support and subscribe my channel for getting more useful session. I will come again with a new session. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you to all of you. Happy learning. Keep commenting.